What is up, NPBF fans and coaches? We are here for another playoff coach interview. We've been doing these this season. It's really, really cool. Such a fun concept, getting to really dig deep into the minds of these top tier performers. It's really, really a fun time. And we're continuing on with a good crew here today. I got myself, Jeff. You know me by now. If you don't know me by now, hi. I'm Jeff. I'm the head commissioner of the NPBF and a fellow coach in my own right. I am joined as well by Alex and Nate, both other commissioners in the league as well. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
What's poppin'?
Glad to be here.
And we are here to interview one of the best performers in NPBF history, a former four-time champion. This season, he came through with a 7-5 record with a +9 differential. The coach of the Los Angeles Darkrais, and that is Renny. Say hi, my man. What's up?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
It's going fantastic. Man, you have been here for ages now. You are one of the veterans of this league and continuing to perform incredibly well each and every season, as we expect from you. So, another playoff berth for you. I feel like this is becoming like a broken record at this point.
Yeah, dude, I think it's number 10 now. 10 seasons. Been here 10 seasons, man. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
I remember it just like it was yesterday, too.
Facts. We've been trading wins and losses back and forth for years now. It's crazy. Time flies, man, and it has been a fun time. But you made playoffs once again, as expected. Because let's be real, I feel like a playoff season. I feel like playoffs in NPBF without Renny in it just kind of feels wrong.
Yeah, I mean, usually my thing is I just play just to make playoffs. I don't even worry about playoffs until they're actually here, like seeding and everything else. So, but this season was tough. I think this is the second season I actually went X5.
Oh wow!
Every other season I think this is actually the most I've lost in a season. It's been 5.
That's crazy.
But it was well deserved. Like hands down, I freaking all the games I lost, I deserve to lose. Like straight up, just lost them. Granted, 1 or 2 of them came down to the wire, but again, I deserve to lose the game. So truly, I'm X5 and I'm proud, and I made it. So
Absolutely. So let's hop right into the questions and let's get this interview rolling. So what did you think of the throwback 6th Gen season as a whole? What did you think of the concept?
I actually, dude, I loved it. I got my first, well, I don't want to say first competitive start in Gen 6, but first, I played most of my competitive history comes from Gen 6, so I'm actually, well versed in Gen 6 and the format. I was glad, and I was happy because I was like, I have a chance to just straight up win the whole thing, and I don't go into every season thinking that, or go into every season being like, yeah, I feel like winning this season. It doesn't work like that. But this season, I was actually way more confident than I was. The only time I was actually confident in another season, and that's not to say I'm not confident in any of the seasons, but the only time I was confident before even playing my first match was my second season here when I won my second championship, but that was because my team was just fucking cracked. And I don't know how you guys let me get away with that team, but
Bro, I don't know how we let you get away with half your teams, dude. I don't know what it is. You fly under the radar. You take all of the threats that are just 1 or 2 tiers below all the other things everyone's worried about. You take all the A- tier threats, and you somehow collect all of them onto one team, sneakily under the radar of everyone else. And then we look at your team afterwards, like, what the fuck just happened? How the fuck did this happen? What?
Dude, that freaking season, I remember I had Mega Charizard X, Rotom Wash, Ferrothorn, Scizor, Keldeo, and Rhydon. And like those 6 were just literally what I brought every single game, and I went 15-1. That was when we had the 16-week main season.
God, I didn't realize we were talking to Kino.
That's
And
insane.
yeah, no, that season, that was the season I was like, I looked at the team beforehand, I was like, yeah, I'll probably win again.
Yeah.
But other than that, like this Gen 6, I said to myself the same thing, because like I like my team going in it, but I don't think it's the best team out there. I don't think it's a top 5 team. I do think it's a good team. I'm not trying to put the team down,
Right.
but I don't think it's like on paper it's not a great team. Like it's a mid team, and when I'm playing it, it's an okay team. Like but I do think again it's possible. It's possible to go all the way. You never know.
Oh yeah,
for sure, man. I mean, like any mid team can be piloted by a legend and taken all the way. Like it really depends on who's piloting it at the end of the day. And with someone who has shown as much skill as you have over the years, it's no surprise to see that you made it this far with the team that you have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to downplay. I know respectively, I know everyone here already, they're like, oh shit, I gotta play him, and then they're gonna like prep like 4 years in advance. That's fine. This team it's not the best, but it's still a good team, and again, I think I've been winning games this season that I just probably shouldn't have won with it. There were like some games where I had, and I was just like stuck, and even when I had help with it, just everybody who I was consulting, they're just like, yeah, like just straight up on paper, it's a bad matchup. And that's where it comes. Like your team could only carry you so far. Like you could draft the best team ever and be a bad player, and you'll go pretty far.
Mm-hmm.
Vice versa, right? You could draft a bad team but be a very good player and go pretty far. So it's like it's a trade off between like skill and then team. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm still pretty confident. I think once I'm in playoffs, I'm in a good headspace. My mindset usually changes when I'm in playoffs, so hopefully that works out.
I mean, you have 3 of the best mons in 6th gen
Mm-hmm.
to have between having Talonflame, Mega Scizor, and Gudra.
Yeah. They actually. So if you ask me to choose 3 of the best mons I've had, I would choose those 3. They're freaking. Gudra's very he's very versatile because like basically I've been using it mainly with Assault Vest this season, just because like freaking. I mean, if you Assault Vest a Gudra and you max HP and max special defense, what's gonna hit it?
Yeah, it doesn't die.
Exactly. Like you're not gonna use a special attack and just one hit kill the Gudra. It's literally impossible, right?
Yeah.
But outside of that, I think a lot of people underestimate the defense that it has, because it has a lot of HP, and then the defense goes up to like I think 251 if you max it out.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of that, it has GUI, and like if you, for example, like if you hit something, like if you know that your opponent has something physical that's going to connect with a physical move, like Lopunny, for example, I think I hit it with that this season, where like I was going to die anyway, so I just stacked the Gudra for GUI, and then like you bring something in like the freaking the Weavile, and then you just low kick or brick break. That just straight up kills it, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think Gudra's also a very, very like underrated mon, and the ability is way more underrated, because Sap Super is very good, but the thing with Sap Super, it's like I'm gonna get hit by Grass Attack anyway, and it's not gonna do anything in the first place, and I really don't care for the buff. So yeah, man.
No, I think GUI is really good.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, GUI's like I think I played it for, out of the 12 games, I think I played it like 10 games. I played it because it's like I was just used to it, and I remember a lot too. Like going back to like how I build my team, it's like I usually build a team or copy a team that I've lost to in the past before, or like copy a set that I've lost to or gave me trouble. Like for example, like in the past, I've had like teams where I'll play against a GUI Gudra, and to give credit, it was Quentin. So I don't know if you guys remember Quint, but in Gen 6, him and I both played. We played a lot in Gen 6. And Gujar was literally his like signature mon. Gujar and
Oh, I do
Espeon,
remember.
those two bonds are always on his team, and he always played it with Gooey. And like I usually play like Talonflame. I usually played, Mega Metagross, stuff like that. And even when like I couldn't kill it, Gooey would activate, and then this guy would just freaking switch, bite my attack, and then afterwards, like, whoever he switched in on, I didn't kill it, so he'll freaking just capitalize on that. Like, now it's either going to force my switch or just kill me. Because whatever he switched in on, it's automatically quicker than whatever I connected with Gutra. So, I think, like, Gooey just straight up, it's such an underrated ability. And, I don't know, like, I kind of don't want to keep talking about it because I know I'm going to have to bring it at some point. So, like, I'm trying to, like, choose my words carefully without, giving away certain thoughts. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You built a very, very solid powerhouse team this season, and with your experience in Gen 6, definitely helped a lot, I'm sure. So, obviously, like you talked about, the three mons you found to be just absolutely goated in Talonflame, Goodra, and Mega Scizor. But what other mon on your roster do you think surprised you with how well it did this season?
Dude, no contrast. It would be Granbull. I've played Granbull. This is like fourth or fifth time I played it in this league. It's actually like, really good. But I think out of all the times I've played Granbull really, really freaking carried this season way more than any other. It's no contest, man. Like, yeah, right? Like, I don't even know, like, straight up, it's defense. It's not even that great. Its HP's not even that great. But what makes it great is just the ability. Because, like, once you switch it on something that's physical and you activate Intimidate, then automatically it's like they can't one-shot you. Even if it's a super effective, they just can't one-shot you, right? And then having the ability to straight up hit any mon you want, it doesn't matter what mon it is, as long as it's not a ghost type, having the ability to straight up hit it for half the damage, and then even if the Granbull dies after that, it's like it's already in Talonflame kill zone, and that's been my plays the entire season, just straight up, whenever it's applicable. It's Super Fang, whatever is on the board. If I can, I'll kill it, but if not, fine. And then just straight up next turn, just Talonflame it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that Granbull's done so well for you. Like you said, its ability is great. Being a pure fairy is really, really good with Intimidate because it just eats so many physical moves. Super Fang is such a good move on it. We didn't even get to see like all of the different things that Granbull could have done just because the one thing it did for your team, it did so well.
Oh yeah. It's such a stellar support mon. Like from the jump, it's one of the best supportive fairies in my opinion, at least in draft.
Oh, yeah.
Like any mon with Intimidate is great, but like Intimidate plus that raw punching power that it has that it doesn't even need, plus something like Super Fang, which is just consistent, plus cleric options, like it checks off all the boxes to be constantly useful in every single match. It will always have something to do.
Yeah, the moment you picked it up, I was a huge fan of it for your team.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it does everything, and it complements Scizor.
Yes.
Scizor perfectly. Like, literally, I don't even have, a lot of the times I actually don't even play max defense Scizor. I'll just max the HP out, and it also works with not only Scizor, but I'm looking at it, and I actually did play Goodra a lot. Like, I'll bring in, Granbull, Intimidate, and then I'll just switch straight into Goodra, and then, like, either Gooey goes off, or Goodra just, eats the attack, and then afterwards it's like, sure, you have something in against Goodra, but chances are from switching Goodra in versus your mon, I have a moveset that's within Goodra that's gonna hit it, right? And Goodra has the best moveset on my team, period.
Oh my god.
All of this, yeah, and like all of this, like all the plays that really happened, most of them, I want to say maybe like 80% of this came from straight up Granbull, either one or two turns before, and if it wasn't for Granbull, or the situation Granbull would just straight up put that team in, it wouldn't happen. Like, I wouldn't, like, Weavile, Talonflame, they wouldn't be so high up on the kill leader if it wasn't for Granbull. Because obviously I'm not going to I'm not gonna switch in Talonflame against something that's gonna freaking, one hit kill it. Maybe if I could afford it, I'll switch in against something that I know that could survive a hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But usually that comes because Gramble either set up an Intimidate or whatever. And then another thing with Gramble, it's like you activate Intimidate and you have a big physical guy on the board. If it gets intimidated, obviously you don't want to keep it in because you're gonna waste it, right? You don't want to waste a perfectly good mon just straight up with low attack. And then if you decide, yeah, like let's hit the Gramble, let's see what the damage is, which a lot of players did this season. Like I'll switch in Gramble, they'll take the Intimidate, they'll hit it, and then they're like, all right, like I did this. What if I do something else? Let's see if I can hit it. They'll hit it again, and it won't die, and I'll get a Super Fang off, and then once the Super Fang goes off, it's like you're already at half HP, and like either Talonflame will kill it with Brave Bird, Scissor's gonna Bullet Punch it, or Weaveout's just straight up gonna straight up kill it. So that's basically the strategy. Like this team really, you could just look at all the mons and predict the strategy for this team, but it works well, and it works until like you could plan around it, but it's really not. It's really not easy to beat. It's a simple strategy. It's a simple core as well.
But it works.
It's very effective.
Yeah.
It works, yeah. And why fix something that's not broken, right?
Absolutely. Like even just looking at your team, like you have the monsters you mentioned before. You have Webb's potential. You have all the hazards you could possibly need as options. You have a little mini rain core just in case if it feels like the right matchup. Like it's. And good supportive backbone. Like it has all of the tools you possibly could need, just right there, ready to go. Like it's almost impossible to prep for everything that this team can do because there's not really much that it can't.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like it looks really mid on paper, and that's what I like about it. Because even like I'll look at it, and if you were to straight up just like erase out all the names and just straight up give me all the teams that were drafted, this team would not even be within the top 3 I would have chose that, I drafted this 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
It just wouldn't, because it's not a team that I'll usually play, but it works and I like it, and I grew very fond of it. And then going back to what you said with the rain core, that came by fear. That came because of the league. Like straight up, I think I had Hippowdon and I dropped it, and I needed something that was almost like a tank, maybe. Something that could take a hit, because Hippowdon's pretty. That shit's like a wall, right? It could it takes physical hits, yeah. And at the time, I needed something that could do that. So I was looking at it. I'm like, Politoed, it's okay defensively. Special defensive stats are better, I think, better than defensive stats. But it was okay. Let's do Politoed. The reason why is because people see Sidor and automatic comes on like 2 out of their 6 mons. It's a given, and that shit, it's annoying because any mon that I've played against this season, and I kept in Scizor, I got hit by Hidden Power, and I was like, after like week 3 or 4, I was like, yeah, I should probably get rid of the Hippowdon, get Politoed because it's gonna activate. So the entire season afterwards, like from mid-season straight up until the end, I was playing the Politoed Mega Scizor combo, and that actually helped a lot because with Talonflame, it actually didn't even hinder it because I was straight up just Brave Bird. I didn't really Flare Blitz as much as I needed to, and then I ended up picking up Galvantula as well from Gav.
Yeah.
So that the Thunder came out, and it's like it worked very well. And then literally, I think a couple minutes before free agency ended, like week 8 or week 9, I picked up Ludicolo because I was like, you know what? Why not? Like, even if I don't use it, it's at least gonna throw somebody off because they're gonna prep for it and they're like, yeah, well, like, what if he brings it? Like, or what if he doesn't? Like, you won't know. I brought it these last 2 games and it really did a lot. So I'm not saying I'm bringing in playoffs or I'm not gonna bring in playoffs, but we'll see. It depends on the matchup. But this team has a lot going for it, and it's very, very good. Like,
yeah, it is.
Again, like, yeah, it's very good. Again, I don't think it's a top 5 team here, but it's easily. I'm not saying I could easily win the entire thing, but it's easily a team that could win the entire thing. It's not like it's not that I guess too complex to look at.
Yeah, definitely. It's really really. It's interesting to look at it on paper and then look at how well it performs, and then you see like all the things you might miss on an initial look, and I think that's really impressive. Is like you've really brought out a lot of what these mons can do, and there's just so much more that you can expand on going into playoffs, which I think is really really great.
Yeah, and originally I think I spoke to Alex or I spoke to you. I think I spoke to all of you guys about this. Our last time we did a recap, and I think I was going for Volt Turn this season, and I actually wasn't even expecting Talonflame. My first pick was going to be Rotomosh.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I saw Talonflame go, like it was still there on the board. I was number 4. I thought within 1, 2, or 3 it's gonna go. It didn't go, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna grab it because usually like Talonflame was my thing. Like my team back then in Gen 6, it always had Talonflame on it. It had Talonflame, it had Rotomosh, and it had Metagross. Those 3 were staple. So if you have to summon me using 3 mons, it would be those 3 mons. But yeah, so I picked Talonflame, and I'm like, there goes my entire Volt Turn combo core, and I still managed in some way to incorporate the Volt Turn in it. Mega Scizor, Galvantula, and even Talonflame. Like I'll slap U-turn on it and just straight up bring it out turn 1. Just to see, because sometimes people don't expect T-Foam to come out turn 1. It's like, oh shit, like, he actually brought out
Put the fear of God in
like,
him immediately.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So it's like, like shit, like now what? Like obviously I'm not gonna go Brave Birding everything for the next 2 or 3 turns because it's not, it's not feasible to win a game. But you bring out T-Flame, chances are it's gonna outspeed something, so you turn out of it, get some momentum going, and so I was pretty glad to actually, keep up the Volt Turn a little bit, and then keep up the Rain and just straight up just the bulk and everything. So I was pretty fortunate to have landed all these guys.
Yeah, for sure. But with all the positive things we got to say about your team, obviously we got to take another look at it and see. Is there anyone on this roster that maybe didn't perform as well as you would have hoped?
Yeah. So didn't perform. That is a good question. So I'm looking at it right now. Actually, the way that I picked that up right before free agency, so I can't really say, if that performed or not. But for that, I had Aggron, right? I had Aggron for approximately like 7 weeks or something like that. So in those 7 weeks, Aggron actually I also north for Aggron, and the thinking behind that was I'm losing Hippowdon on my set, so which is Aggron, right? Picked up Aggron, and again, it's good. It's not bad. I can easily put the fighting barrier on it. It'll live a fighting attack. It also has 30 and whatnot, but it's just I never saw a fit for it. I never really saw that proper 6 slot for Aggron coming in for a lot of the games. So there was that, and then I also want to say Weezing. I mean, Weezing's a really really good Pokemon. Like that shit straight up. Outside of anything psychic or anything that's attacking special attacking, Weezing will wall anything, man. And it has access to Will-O-Wisp, and it's like if you could get that off against something that's physical, they can't beat it, right? But I guess actually didn't bring Weezing in at all yet. Still hasn't seen the field. And then I think the last one I want to say to you would be Mega Scizor. I mean, not that it underperformed. I think the only reason why I would say Mega Scizor is because if you're looking at my team, I don't have anything else that could clear rocks, right? I only have Defog on Mega Scizor, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times when I do bring Mega Scizor in, it's like I got to pack on Defog. just to clear out the rocks for keep playing because I don't have anything else. And because of that, it limits it in a lot of ways because of that, it suffers from the 4 move syndrome, right? On. So it's like, what's my other 3? Because I could either, I could play, U-turn, Swordsman's, Bullet Punch, Roost, Knockoff, all of those good moves. So it's not that, Scizor didn't perform. It did. It's its job. But you're not going to kill leaderboard because it just didn't really kill. A lot of the plays I did with Scizor was literally just bug there, and that was it. And that's all it really needed to do this season. And that's probably all it's going to do in playoffs. I don't expect Scizor to straight up, come in and Thor's Dance 4 times and just sweep with Bullet Punch the entire time. It's not going to happen. It's not feasible for this. Right? But yeah, when it comes to that, that would be the negatives on the team. Like I said, ideally, I was going to play Volt Turn, so, the process behind that was I was going to, grab Gliscor, grab something else like Mandibuzz or, something with, even, I was even looking at Torkoal at some point, but James chose it, so.
It's my trigger word.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to love Deshaun's interview.
Oh, God.
I just got shivers up and down my spine thinking about that stupid turtle.
Yeah, no, that fire turtle was freaking underrated. It could literally eat any fish. But yeah, that was it. I would say just Aggron, Weezing, and Scizor, but again, they weren't really underperforming. In all fairness, the only ones to really underperform was Aggron. Weezing, I didn't really give a shot to Mega Scizor. I didn't really play it to the full potential that I could have, but it's also very situational because it's I'm not going to overextend with Scizor when I could do the same thing with T-Flame or Weavile. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's unfortunate for Mega Scizor as a mon as strong as it is that it did have to fall into that role because you said it best, the 4 move slot syndrome. When you have to have defog every week, that's tough for a mon like Mega Scizor, which can do so many things. So definitely can see that one. As far as Weezing goes, I've been there. I've had Weezing before. It's one of my favorite defensive walls. One of my favorite cores to use over the years has been Weezing plus Umbreon because they cover each other beautifully. It's a literal perfect synergy between the two. And sometimes it's just Weezing just can't show up. Everything else in your team just does it better. So that I feel that for sure. Aggron, yeah. It's just Aggron's kind of 50-50. If it's not a Mega Aggron, it kind of feels like it just always underperforms. It's always going to kind of be like that super niche pick. You bring it in a matchup where no one thinks you're going to bring it, and then you bring some wacky set that catches them off guard or something. But that's about all it can do.
Yeah, I agree. That's really the way Aggron's played. It's just, and a lot of it, again, it's incredibly situational because it's I can't, if I'm gonna play, for example, if I'm gonna play against James or something, right? Just looking at his team, I can't straight up just I can't play Aggron because he has that freaking that Gyarados that's always sweeping everybody, right? He has Landorus Incarnate, straight up Earth Power, and I die. And then there's the Gengar with Focus Blast, there's the Bisharp, the Mienshao. There's all these fighting moves that he could just straight up hit me with. And then at the end of the day, if all that doesn't work, if he doesn't do that, right, and he brings out Rotomon, he just burns Aggron. Outside of Rocks, what else could Aggron really do? Right? Yeah, maybe I could Thunder Wave something, but if the Rotomon stays in and just stalls me out, Aggron's not going to touch it. So a lot of these games are incredibly situational, and just looking at a lot of the credit goes to my division. Straight up just Jason, Chris, and Liam. Aggron's really, really terrible against Liam. Milotic, Darmanitan, straight up, he's just going to kill them. You know what I mean? Earthquake, Scald, it's not going to work against Liam. And all these guys are great players. So they see Aggron, like they see these guys and they're like, they know what to do. And my record speaks for itself because I've lost 3 out of the 5 games I lost just came from my division. And they were able to just look at the team and, decipher what I was going to play and how I was going to play. And ultimately they won. And that's how you do it. So with that said, like Aggron, it's okay. Like you said, it's 50-50. But again, it was like this season's really, really freaking situational. And then it also goes out to Gen 6 because Gen 6 also has these technical things within it that a lot of people forget. Even I forgot I think up until last night I was playing against Chris and I got paralyzed with Talonflame. And I realized what was it? The paralysis, it's 25% of your actual speed now? Or like 1/4?
Yeah.
Instead of like 1/3 or 1/2 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that made a huge, huge difference because if it wasn't, let's say it was like 1/2 or like 1/3, I would outsped the Klefki. Because he paralyzed, he used the Klefki, paralyzed the T-Flame. I was like, fine. And then I missed a Flare Blitz. I was paralyzed for it. And I clicked Flare Blitz again. And me thinking that, like, we're in Sword and Shield or something like that. Because mathematically speaking, Talonflame should be able to outspeed it, right?
Yeah.
And I did have some type of some speed investment in it. I didn't have max speed, but I had some type of speed investment. It was I believe it was like 100 or something like that. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, like outspeed. And then I realized, I look back at the stats, I'm like, oh shit, this is like Gen 6. So like part of these things, like we just can't have them. And there's a couple sets that I want to play, and with Gen 6, it's like you can't have certain moves with certain abilities, like hidden abilities. Because I think this was the first one, like, hitting abilities are first coming out or first actually going into like widely competitive use.
Yeah.
So a lot of mons are just limited. Like I don't want to say like which mon specifically, just because I might end up having to dish them out of playoffs. But a lot of these mons they're hindered by that fact, right? So
Yeah.
Gen 6 actually has a bunch of technicalities within it, and again, that plays a role in like people's records as well, right? So
yeah, I think a good example of what you were
lot.
talking about is I think a mon like Clefable I think is one that stands out because like certain move combinations just don't work. Because I know I had Clefable a bunch of times like back then, and before we got the ability to just like swap between regular abilities and swap 2 hidden abilities and all that kind of stuff because quality of life improvements are great. Like you can't run soft boiled with like unaware or something like that, or you can't run wish with unaware or something like that. Like it's one of those combinations that you can't run like that combo at all because like one of them's like an event move from like a previous generation, or like one of them was like it was a weird combination of things, and it always never worked. And it's definitely something that like forces a lot of thought. Like the force natures as well on the dogs. That's another big one. If you want to run extreme speed on Entei, or if you want to run
Sacred Fire.
If you want to run Sacred Fire on Entei, you got to be adamant. If you want to run Air Slash, if you want to have that tech on Suicune, you have to be relaxed. If you want Aura Sphere, that's unfortunate. You can't go timid. You got to go rash. It's
right. Yeah.
That's a really fantastic point, and I think that's something that a lot of people I think struggled with this season. I saw a couple instances where something stood out that like, wow, that's a Gen 6 thing that they probably just didn't expect. That sucks.
Yeah, man, and the technicalities. It's also, if you understand them, you could play them to your advantage, right? Like you could just win the games. Like like you said with the Entei just going adamant if it has Sacred Fire. Well, I think Jason, when he played that, I think he scarfed it twice. And both times I'm doing the math. I'm like, all right, this thing's not Jolly because it can't go Jolly because he just, certified my ass. So with those like simple little technicalities, it makes all the difference because it's between, it could be a game or not. Straight up, just like, straight up, like when I was playing against Chris, and not to give credit to him because he deserved that win and that he really played his ass off. Like props to him. But I believe, like, if my Talonflame, if the paralysis wasn't so much and the Flare Blitz hit because the Thompson outsped even at a paralysis, the game might have been it would have been shifted because I would have to deal with that class C, and then a lot of things would have happened differently, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Technically, yeah, like, and that's the thing with Gen 6. It's like I like it, I love it because it's like a breath of fresh air. Like,
There's a lot more mind games.
Yeah, there's way more mind games, and it's like, does he have it or does he not? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's straight up with certain movesets, and it's also when you're used to a certain moveset on a mon, like let's say in like Sword and Shield, and then they don't have it anymore. Then it's like, shit, now I gotta run something way different. And
yeah, I ran into that.
Sometimes you forget that.
I ran into that. I forgot that it was Gen 7 that gave the genies defog. And I realized that way too late, and I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, Anthony's entire draft changed because he didn't, because of Torn T not having defog.
Yeah, dude, I remember that. We were drafting together, like, and we were talking during the draft, right? And, we're like, all right, like, pick up Torn T, you'll have access to defog, so you'll have defog, and then Stormy for, you spinners. You'll be fine, like, Charizard's gonna be fine. A spinner and a defog, that's straight up, like, 33% of your team, you're good. And then afterwards, we're prepping for week 1 with Ant, and then he's straight up like, yo, Torn doesn't get defog. I'm like, what? And that's when I clicked in my head. I was like, oh, shit. And I felt bad because I was like, yeah, bro, like, go for it. It makes sense on paper. It's great for your team. And I was just like, oh, shoot. Like, that just straight up, that I felt bad for that. But those little technicalities, that's one thing I really, really learned this season, like how much they matter. And it's not even that I didn't go through technicalities within all generations because I've been playing for a long time. And you're still learning even if you've been playing for it. You could be the best player in the world and you'll still just learn about certain things in the game that you didn't learn about. And that's what I like about it. That's what learning. Yeah.
For sure. That's one of the things I love most about this game, man, is every generation you just keep learning more stuff, and then you'll always find something that you missed somewhere along the way. So that is a fantastic thing about this franchise. Now, turning our focus back to playoffs.
Yeah.
If you could pick one coach out of the list of coaches we have, and that list as of right now, as of recording, is... Well, it's Liam, it's myself, it's you, obviously, but obviously you can't pick yourself, because you can't play yourself. I don't think that's how that works. We got Alex, we got Deshaun, we got Steven, we got Liam, yourself, Jason, myself, and then the winner of Anthony if he wins, and if not, then it's Eric. So we'll include both of them just in case. But out of all those people, who would you pick that you would like to face in finals?
Face in finals?
Yeah.
I've spoken to James about this, and I've said Steven a lot. And Steven's a really great player, and he's new, but he reminds me of myself and the way he plays.
Mm-hmm.
He reminds me of like another Jeff as well. But I would have to defer, and I'll have to say Deshaun, because prior to this season, like, we had a lot of conversations about what was going on and what was going to happen this season, and how we both felt about the guys coming in and who were the top players and stuff like that. And it was a lot of like back and forth, and we were in a lot of agreement. But man, Dave's team, like, I don't know, like, his team, like, sometimes, like, out of those couple seasons, you'll have that one draft team where you just fall in love with and you never want to let go of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's that team that he has right now. This team has... You could ask me, like, what the weakness for this team is, and I can't tell you if there's a weakness or not, because there is none.
Yeah.
Straight up.
No, straight up.
He has no weakness. He has no weakness. If you're going to beat Deshaun, I'll give everybody in playoffs a little hint on how to beat him. And he's going to hate me for this, but it's not great advice either. if you're gonna beat him, you're not gonna beat him with your team. You're gonna beat him with skill,
Yep.
and that's the only way you're gonna beat him.
Yeah.
Like
You have to outplay him.
Yeah, you have to outplay him. There's no way unless he's sick that day and he has a headache or some shit and he's just not playing his best. There is no. He could play on autopilot and he could probably make it all the way to finals just on autopilot.
Yeah.
Like,
Either outplay him or find a way to outsmart him. Bring some kind of crazy, outlandish set that should never work in any situation. Yeah. But, like, he will never see it coming and you can catch him off guard with it. Something along those lines. Because this team is too good.
Dude, and this guy is so freaking creative. Like, him and Alex, they're like the twins that they're prepping together every time. And if you prep against Deshaun, you got to prep against Alex, too. So that's just the way it works, right? But
yeah,
100%.
Whenever they're creating their teams, like, I'm just looking at these games, and it's like, fucking hell, you swept him. You made the game an 8-turn game, and you swept him a quarter. And, like, I'm like, yo, that shit should not have happened. You know what I mean? Like, the way I saw that game going was, I saw that game being a back and forth, and maybe like Mega Metachan just winning it, or Rifle being scarfed and just fucking thunderbolting everything. But no, it should have been happening. I'm like, yo, fucking hell, bro. And when I played against him, like, I was fairly confident the entire time. Mind you, I forgot he had Zygarde. I just completely, like, I was hungover and just drunk and shit, just overlooked it, and that's fine. But he brought out Zygarde, and, like, the moment that thing came out, I was like, fuck. I have no outs for this. He straight up coiled, like, 6 turns in a row, and he beat me 5-0, and that was my worst loss I've possibly ever had, ever. Straight up, like, Jeff, like, Deshaun really beat the shit out of us this season, so.
Yeah, he really did, man. He really did. He really did.
Another thing I want to point out, even before this call, right, I was looking up all the records and whatnot, and if you actually do the math, Day's record, on average, all the games that he wins on average, he wins by 3.1 or higher.
That's
that means
crazy.
That he's winning. He's at least more than 3-0ing all of his opponents on all of his wins.
Yeah.
And that shit is not even like I can't even begin to like fathom that. And, you know, Alex is number 1 seed, right? But Alex isn't doing that. You know, like mathematically speaking, Alex is number 3. He's like, I think like 2.6 or 7, whatever. That's fine. But Deshaun is straight up just outperforming. And what I like about the team is it's a simple team. Literally, all he had, like the core is on the simplest form. It's Blissey and Skarmory, and that's existed for like years now. And even now in 2022, it's still such a viable core. So honestly, man, I'll be happy if Day wins this season. He straight up deserves it. And the good thing is, I will say, is there's a chance I might play him just straight off the bat. So that's going to be interesting. I'm actually looking forward to that game. And then the good thing about that is, you know, if I do play him in round 1 of playoffs, one of us is going to go over to semifinals, right? So that's the good thing about that.
Yeah, and you're either going to face him round 1 or have the chance to hit playoffs. There's no in between.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
The potential of that is just exciting in general. But from excitement, we got to go to dread. We got to talk about the opposite side of things, because for every matchup you might want to experience, which coach are you dreading facing potentially in playoffs?
It would be Deshaun again. Again, I just don't want to play him. But if I did have to choose somebody else, I mean, I don't want to play against Alex. I don't want to play against Steven. I'm not going to go into why, because it's self-explanatory. I mean, I just want to call out, like, Steven started off, I think, 1-2, and they straight up just won, like, fucking 10 games, like, what, 9 games in a row?
He hasn't dropped the game since week 3 was the last time he dropped the game.
Right, yeah. So, and this guy he's very clever, and like I said, he reminds me of Jeff and myself. And that's very rare, because ever since, you know, well, all the people that we've dealt with in the past 10 seasons, I think Jeff's been here 11, I've been here 10. And
yeah.
within those seasons, I haven't really Jeff's always been Jeff. I've always been me. And Steven comes in, it's like, this guy's really good. So
Yeah. He's a wealth of knowledge. Go back and listen to his interview. 2 hours long, then it could have been
100%, man.
6. It could have been 6 hours.
And James, James is always swearing by him, and rightfully so. He's really, really good. So, if I had to, on the record, if I had to peg somebody to win the game, the entire thing, it would be Steven or Deshaun. Just putting it out there. Not to not knock off Alex or Jeff.
No, they're safe. They are safe picks. They are.
Alex is number one right now. And
Alex will retire.
Right? Yeah, man.
No, I'm not letting him retire.
He's not allowed.
Nah, not Deshaun. He can't retire.
He's never allowed to leave us. He's stuck here.
He's already said he would.
Yeah, well.
He has way too much juice. Come on, man. Like
he was gonna retire last season, and I was like, oh, I'm not letting you until you win, and then that really didn't take any effort. So he's gonna now it's gonna be like, oh, you can't do it until Devon makes it up to the main league.
We'll find a way.
That's gonna be a fight, though.
That's facts.
That's gonna be a fight.
No. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, this playoffs, I'll tell you this. When it comes to playoffs for this season, usually in the past seasons, with some degree of accuracy, I would be able to straight up just say like, all right, I think X, Y, and Z is going to make semifinals. Usually I can't say finals because semifinals is much easier to predict.
Yeah, for sure.
But with this season, I can't tell you, man. I can't straight up say, hey, Alex is going to go all the way, or hey, Deshaun's going to go all the way. It doesn't work like that because these guys are doing great, and that's great and all, but there's also a lot of coaches right now that are just doing everything right, and it's different. Like I'm not to toot my own horn, but like I said, like when I get into playoffs, I have a really different mindset compared to just regular season. Because like regular season, I'll look at my schedule and 10 minutes before a game, I'll throw a team together, and I'll just play the team. But in playoffs, I'll spend the weekend. I'll spend a Saturday morning, take like an hour or two to sort of analyzing all of my opponent's plays and their videos and everything, and then trying to think about certain situations and how to get myself out of it. So, and I'm sure all of these guys, not even a lot, I'm sure all of these guys are doing the same exact thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this playoff is going to be interesting, and again, anybody can win it. Literally anybody. Like, and I don't say that with, like, I say it with heart. Anybody can win it this season.
Yeah, this definitely feels like this is definitely one of the most competitive seasons we've ever had, and the closest by far to the point where like the bottom end of our bracket is there's going to be a 5-7 coach potentially.
Yeah, it is potentially still.
That's crazy to me. That's insane. Like that's how close this has gotten to. Like we have that potential there. Like that's nuts. So this is really anyone's game still at this point. Anyone can pull something out. So it's an exciting time to be here in this league. I got goosebumps waiting for playoffs, man. I got goosebumps.
Yeah, I can't wait. I just want to know who I'm going to play against.
Yeah, me too.
For sure. All right, but with that, that concludes all the questions we have. Any final thoughts you have, Renny, going into what's looking to be possibly one of the most stacked playoff brackets we've had?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's really a lot to really process. Because a lot of these guys that were, that's in the wild card, outside of the divisional leaders, because those guys have been leading the entire season. The wild card's pretty wild. Like in its own sense, it's pretty wild, right? Anyone like, for example, he's on such a run that he's probably the hottest coach right now with everything that he's doing, right? Then, if Anthony sneaks into playoffs with his prep and, whoever he plays, I think it might be Alex or whatever, or Steven. Like, it's just really, it's not an auto win, right? There's no in this playoff. There's no auto wins. I've actually, I'll be honest. I've had playoffs where like my top 8 match, I'm like, all right, like I don't see myself losing, and I'll build half an hour before. I'll look at some stuff, and I wouldn't. Not that I wouldn't take it seriously. I just like I wouldn't put as much time, and it worked out fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this season, I don't think anybody could really afford to do that. And the only thing that I don't like going into this, and we all know the game that we play, but hacks is really a thing. And I would hate for it to come down to, for a game to come down to share of hacks. I've had that in the past, and it's the worst feeling in the world if you lose a playoff game because you missed like a 90 accuracy move, or because something got paralyzed when you're activating a priority move. So, with that said, like, yeah, man, like, you know, all of these games are going to be fun, and I'm sure they're going to be close. But kudos to literally everyone. Like, everyone played their ass off, straight up. Like, and it was great. Like, I really, this is one of the most fun seasons I've ever had. So, I'm just happy to be here.
For sure, and obviously we're happy to have you, man. It's been great having you here all these seasons, and obviously we hope to have you for as many seasons as we can keep you going forward.
Listen, bro, I'll tell you this before we conclude. Number 5's coming. It's inevitable. It's gonna come. It's gonna come at some point. So
Yeah,
for sure. I have no doubts in that whatsoever. But with that, we're going to end this one off. Thank you, Renny, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you again to Alex and Nate as well for providing additional commentary as well. It's always nice to have you guys on with us.
always.
And with that, my name is Jeff, and I was going to conclude this interview. Thank you guys for watching. Please be sure to go check out all of the other interviews that are up at this point. All of them are fantastic. Alex has been conducting a lot of the interviews with a lot of the other guys in playoffs, and it's been fantastic. So definitely a lot of information coming from all these guys. Again, everyone here is a top-notch player, so you're going to get a lot of in-depth information just like you got here. So definitely I implore you to go check those out. Really get into the mind of these coaches because they're all fantastic players. And, maybe you can learn something. You never know. But thank you guys again for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.